This is Ed, and welcome back to Life, broadcast of global business news, TV. And this is, I don't know how many times we've done this already, but several times. I'll have to look that up. Uh, I started this broadcast series using Zoom almost to the day 5 years ago in March 2020. When COVID came crashing into my live meetings and events business, which I've had for over 25 years. The last two live meetings prior to ending the series was Feb 25 and Feb 27 in New York and in Washington, respectively. And both of those were sellouts, and then it all stopped. And so I needed to develop the global meeting room using Zoom. And I was very unfamiliar with Zoom. And the way I learned was by looking at old YouTube clips from Huntley Brinkley and ABC News and other broadcasts, CNN, of course, and looking how the broadcasters look in the camera and keep their eyes focused and welcome guests and use teleprompters, things like that. So here we are, 1,000 productions later, 5 years, and that's called to life for me, giving me extension and creative juice. So thank you, Mark, and thank you, Dave Cohen, for being on this program. It's about living well with Parkinson's, but also Alzheimer's and other afflictions. Mark Colo, longtime friend, client, uh, now basically retired and living in Utah, but you wouldn't know it from that beautiful picture behind you. And you're playing golf. How often do you play golf in St. George, Utah?
How long do I play golf?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit slower play among the players I found, but I usually spend about maybe 5 hours on a round of five of and a full round of 20 or 18, I should say.
Uh-huh.
So I gotta remember how many points we score in this crazy game. But so and it's just a much easier pace of life out here than it is in Southern California in the rat race. I mean, I used to just go from one door to the next, just no stopping, no rest for the weary. And I make all these contacts and then be on to the next set of 10 or 12 doors. It's just kind of like it just goes on and on and on. But I was fortunate and grateful to have a job for the 60 plus years that I did this industry and sold these services. And the most exciting part of the whole 60-year period was when we started getting into the laboratory moves, as you know, Ed, and we got very heavily involved in lab moves. And the unusual piece of that is that we insure the shipment, we estimate the shipment, we work up all the equipment for it. We get the right amount of equipment lined up in the right place at the right time to make these pickups on the second and just get right move from, in many cases, coast to coast. That was one of my first ones I did was for a gentleman named Dr. Howard Federoff, and his move was just a great template for all other moves that we did from
So
coast to coast.
what this is, just for the audience sake out there in the world, um, transportation business, household goods, but also very sensitive medical equipment. So this guy is not only the CEO of a medical research company, of which you're involved to some extent now, but he had all these brain samples and specimens, and he needed to be sure that you won't screw up the move and damage those specimens. And you guaranteed it. And move cross country to Irvine, University of California, Irvine Medical School. And it was successful for him and therefore for you and the company. And then that began a surge of uh, similar sensitive packaging and shipment.
Mhm.
And you batted 100%. And that's kudos to you, Guy. And because that is real super sensitive stuff. So you came down with Parkinson's 20 odd years ago, more, and you are the epitome of a guy who's figured out how to deal with it. You, you and Larry Linton,
Yeah.
he runs marathons and plays the drums and does some other things to channel the energy flow. And what you're doing is helping people who also have the cerebral affliction and adjust to change and deal with expense and figure out how to be positive. You called that the circle of, I forget.
Perimeter of hope.
Yeah, perimeter of hope. That's it. And so you're dealing with not only the patient, but the family members and how they can cope.
Yes.
Yeah. So my brother Dave has come down with Parkinson's in the last couple of years. And Dave, would you like to speak?
Well, I just is you learn to adjust. You adjust to how fast you get up. You adjust to how fast you sit down, and you adjust to how you do things. It's to me, it's no different than any other signs of aging.
Yeah.
And I'm going on 73, and while I expect to live quite a while longer, I'm also too realistic that I don't have the capabilities that I had 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and which is okay because I'm not the same person I was 20 or 30 years ago. I'd love to be able to play golf, but I don't have the shoulders for it anymore. I used to play golf every day, but that has passed and life is fine. So it's a matter of keeping my attitude positive of what I can do and how I can do it, and to not be limited by, erratic hand movements, say, because it's no fun to see this, but it's not so terrible. I can find a way to brace myself and still be functional. So I'm not morose about this by any stretch of the imagination. I'm also resisting my neurologist's idea of a stimulant implant in the brain because I'm not quite ready for brain surgery.
Yeah. That's a big decision, Dave, when people do choose to go DB, that's called DBS, deep brain stimulation. And it's not an easy decision to make. It's a very difficult decision to make when you look at the possibility of having the surgery go awry. Maybe it doesn't go as well as it could. When you're talking about just a tiny cell of some kind of cerebral part of your brain that probably is pretty advanced to the point where you can't just pick and choose and move cells around and create this new uh, central nervous system. It just doesn't happen that way.
I
So
get
it is
a,
always a risk factor when you're up to the plate, and
I,
just
I, I always have this vision of Jethro Bodine from the Beverly Hillbillies being a
yeah,
brain surgeon.
I love that. That's a great impression. He was one of my favorite actors on TV. So he's a simpleton, but it says so many brilliant things from time to time.
Yep.
That's fun. So,
So I'm here in San Diego.
yeah,
This picture is a pathway at
great.
the Kona Kai Resort. It's adjacent to San Diego Yacht Club, and a lot of the
Sounds nice.
sailboats are behind me there.
Yeah.
And it's right off of Coronado Bay. And this was picture during the summer when everything was in bloom. And I thought this might be interesting today, not only because it's beautiful, if you could take a look at this thing. Um, I have to tell you now, it's March and spring is here now, but all these bushes now at this time of year, this was taken in August. And right now it's mid-March, March 21 in the year 25. And this pathway does not look as beautiful as this does right now, but the pathway is still there. And so I thought the analogy here of this program and discussing overcoming challenges would give the viewers, the audience who are interested in this topic, a pathway to follow. And that's the meaningfulness of me displaying this photo. Uh, of course, the beauty of it can refer to, let's just say, as a leap of faith or a leap of vision of finding a beautiful way to deal with an affliction or a problem or a challenge. That's a better word.
Yeah, I
That's,
like that too. A challenge has been
yeah.
always been my favorite phrase to share with people when they're sharing to me what was at the moment in time, probably their life's experience, their ultimate experience in Earth life. Just wow, it's hard to fathom. And a lot of these diseases, in fact, there's over 5,000 brain-related diseases that are around the planet. And each one of them has its own set of challenges to adjust to. But I'm so thankful for some of these brilliant scientists who are gradually working toward finding a cure. And I hope we see something very soon, Ed, because I'm really excited about what we're trying to do here. And literally creating an off-the-shelf solution type of medication that will help correct this this problem and yeah, hopefully eventually just alleviate it, just take it right away.
Why
So
don't you introduce the name of the company uh, that Dr. Howard is CEO of?
yeah, it's KENTAI, and I think it's an X after that. It's called Kentai, KENTAI, and then the second word is therapeutics. So you should pull it up from that address, and you type those two words in there.
Yeah, good. Why don't you repeat that one more time? KENTIA?
TIA, and then then the word I think is an X. I think it's because it started out in Texas, and the headquarters is now in where you are in San Diego, Ed. So they've just done some short moves since they began, and but it's
So
good.
this is brain research.
Yes.
And to what extent will the company be involved, if you can disclose anything at this moment? Um, and if you can't, that's cool too. But in the new space station that's being built now, by Axiom, and our mutual friend Jana
Yeah.
Stoudemire has been on the show in the past, and they're going to be doing some medical research science experiments operating on the space station because it's zero gravity, and apparently that kind of an environment is perfect for the kind of research that you're talking about.
Yeah. We could try and get her on the phone right now, Ed. I don't know if she'll be available, but we could.
Well, if you can do it, that'll be great. I don't have the mental capacity to do more than one thing at a time.
Let me see if I can get her on here. Let's just see if she wants to say hi for a minute.
All right.
All right.
So Dave, what do you think of uh, SpaceX? Not anything political here, but just the science of sending up a rocket ship and being a hero, taking those guys off the space capsule.
That's a narrative that is a stretch of the truth because I mean if you read through to the last paragraph on some of the stories about Butch and Sonny or Sunni, however you want to pronounce it, is that they agreed to stay on the cap in the space station to serve as part of the crew because they had essentially replaced a couple of people who were coming in. And they were coming in for a short stay, but obviously 9 months is not a short stay. I mean, was there something wrong? There's something wrong with the Boeing capsule. And NASA wasn't willing to uh, take a chance on whether or not something that had been leaky was going to be contained through the reentry process. Turned out that it was, but you put two people in there, it may not be. So nobody was stranded. Nobody was stuck up there. They were there voluntarily. I mean, because there was always a capsule attached to the space station that they could use to escape, and they didn't. So, having spent a little time of my life at NASA and in some of the facilities, there's some arrogance there, but there's also some incredible science being done.
Oh, that's a great story. Thank you for adding that. Okay, how's the telephone doing?
Yeah, I rang her number and her voice recording came on.
Yeah, okay. She must be in space.
I'm sure she
Okay.
probably
Somewhere.
probably a little bit spacey too.
Yeah. So, Mark, tell us about your experience giving a TEDx talk some time ago, but I'm sure that you relived that. So the idea of standing up in a pressurized environment could be really quite unnerving. Now, a lot of people have done it. I have not yet done that, but you have done it. And, I've seen the video and you look terrific. And
Well, it's a good opportunity for somebody that wants a close up of what an individual that lives with Parkinson's disease looks like on a day in, day out basis. The body is continually in motion. The biggest challenge is getting used to the knowledge that you have that everybody on that audience in that audience is seeing you, A to A and B to B, just exactly the way you look. And the biggest frustration is that, as with any resting tremor that a patient has to live by, is you can't control it. I mean, there's absolutely no control over that tremor that's impacting your body language, your movements, your facial expressions. It's so complicated, and I don't know what else to say about how you can really adjust to that, but it is not easy. So that's the biggest part. But actually, the biggest part is when they audition you. So if they're gonna give a TED talk, you have to first of all apply. And once you've applied, then you come down there on the day of testing, and then they usually have about 15 to 20 people that are finalists that are going to participate. And at the end of the day, after they've interviewed each one and seen each one present their talk, then at the end of the day, they pick a total of about 10. I think we had 11 with my class. But then they say, okay, you guys, You made it to the second round, and it was a gentleman named Jamie, and the other guy's name was Chris, and they're a young married couple, but they're so much fun, and they got everybody so engaged, and they were laughing the whole time, and back to my portion, I got my turn. I was number 4 to get up and speak, so I had some time to watch some of the other speakers. And then I got up to the stage and I told them who I was and told them I was really wanting to do this my whole life. And I just so grateful to be here today. And then went off onto my talk. And it was interesting. It was curious too, because I was wondering, once the talks had all been given, I was wondering, well, how do I know when or how I passed, you know? I've been in sales my whole career. I want to find out, how well did I perform? What areas could I have done better at? What could I have said differently? And because in my gut, I kind of said to myself, you probably aren't going to get on stage, Mark. Yeah, and I don't know why that big, cloud of doubt came over me, but I was definitely concerned about making the team. And then when we were finished, I asked Jamie, I said, well, how's it looking? Am I close? Do I got a chance here? She says, oh, well, Mark, you're on. You're in, you know. I was like, oh, geez, really? And she says, yeah. So went to the next step, and then the next step was coming down to actually have the show and then to film it. And they had 1 or 2 meetings between that moment in time till we actually gave the shows, that we were able to, speak to other people and get a little better feel for what was going to be going on with the talks. So my biggest fear, Ed, was when Jamie came up to me and said, "Congratulations, Mark." And this is 10 minutes before the show started. 10 minutes. She says, yeah, really excited. It's gonna be great, Mark. You're gonna be dynamite. Guess what? We'd like you to be the opening speaker. And when they said that, I said to myself, "Are you serious?" I said, "You guys must be desperate, you know." And so she said, "No, we're gonna have you go first." And so you can watch if you haven't watched the video yet, it's really worth watching. It's only 12 minutes. And you have to watch all 12 minutes for it to record on as having been a viable, talk. Somebody actually saw it and gave it the time of day. But once you've done that, you can check it off the list. Then it goes into a number sequence on the talk. So let me see. I'll show you. We got time for this, Ed? Show you quick.
Absolutely, yes.
Let me just real quick.
I'm really happy to show it.
It's kind of fun. So if you want to show it to a friend, for example, you see up in the Google search box, I'm putting in here, Mark space Colo talk. See it? Just those 3 words. I type those 3 words in. Hit
Okay.
that. That's yours truly right here. Here we go. Can you hear that all right?
No, I don't see it, but I've had you on speaker. I'm going to put it in gallery. I do not see it.
You don't see it? Okay, let me just share.
But yeah, my screen share is available.
It is available. Okay, let me get my screen share. We'll do
Okay.
this right here. Okay, from Ted. They create. Let me see. Well, you want to go on your screen and pull it up, Ed?
Use my.
Why don't you go into your Google? Can you go into your Google and just type?
I'm not sure I can do that. I
Okay.
can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Let me try this again. This is one of my friends, buddies yelling at me. Okay, so
I don't know what to do here to help you.
okay, you can't see my screen, right?
I
Share,
cannot.
share screen is not working.
Oh, you got it?
No.
Oh, it says not working. Okay. So.
My screen share is available. You just got to upload the video.
Okay, let me see if I can do that. Am I on your screen right now?
Your head is, but not your TEDx. So, Dave, how far north of the bridge are you?
Well, we're 30 miles east of the bridge.
Oh, east, not north. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We're basically 30 miles to San Francisco and 50 miles to Sacramento.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you were that far over. So you're in North Bay then, north above one of those lakes?
No, we're actually just on the south side of San Pablo Bay.
Ah, okay.
So
And
that
so that's east, is that
yeah,
correct?
it's you go well, Interstate 80 out of San Francisco
Ah, that's
goes
right.
north,
Yeah.
and so we're part of that, but that goes around
California, about 3 blocks down from the happiest place in the world, Disneyland. Can you see that, Ed?
No, I just hear the audio. I don't see
You
a
hear the
screen.
audio? Okay. All right. Love that ride. Twists and turns were exciting. The surprises, nonstop. Little did I know that ride would be a foreshadowing of things to come. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. Our family moved 10 times before my mom remarried a police officer and law and order entered our home. At age 19, I decided it was time to leave home, head out on my own. So I packed my bags, jumped on an airplane, and flew to Northern Ireland to complete a 2-year church service mission at a time of great civil unrest, referred to as the hunger strike. Following that experience, I flew back to the United States, found gainful employment in the moving and storage industry, and retired from that industry just last year. Helen Keller once said, "The bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn." I faced the biggest bend in my road when I was 48 years old, living in Newport Coast, California, with my wife, our 3 children under the age of 10, and a dog named Quincy. Our neighbors included Kobe Bryant, Carl Malone, Dean Koontz, and Vanna White. Life was exceptionally good. Later that year, I was diagnosed with EOPD, early onset Parkinson's disease. No pressure, right? I found out that the odds of being diagnosed with that disease at that point in time for me was approximately 8/1000th of 1%. The next time you're heading to Las Vegas, take me with you. Today I'm going to leave you with 5 adaptive principles that will help you abolish FAD, aka fear, apathy, and doubt. If you're sad, lonely, or depressed, there's a strong possibility that FAD has a hold on you. Principle number 1, the only constant in life is change. Embrace it. The Irish have a saying, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. And sure enough, the weather can change almost instantaneously. Life can be full of surprises. No matter what situation you find yourself in, adapt and find purpose and meaning through it. Principle number 2. If you think things can't get worse, you're wrong. Life is unpredictable. And any one of us could find ourselves in a situation that's less than ideal. If that should happen, sometimes all you can do is press on. The word depression, unscrambled, spells I pressed on.
That's cool.
Yeah. Number 3. Control is an illusion. Let go of it. Parkinson's has at least 65 major bodily functions that are pummeled by that disease. And the most common symptom is called a resting tremor. These tremors are interesting because the more you try and suppress them, the more intensified they become. Which begs the question, why do we spend so much of our time trying to control the uncontrollable? I have to think that one through a little bit. Parkinson's to date has no known cause, no remission, and no cure. It's fondly referred to as the gift that keeps on taking. Principle number 4. Life isn't always fair. Maintain your sense of humor. Good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people. There isn't always a rhyme or reason. Whatever happens, keep your sense of humor. Laughter is by far your best medicine. I'd like to share a few of my Parkinson's jokes with you, if that's okay. I'm thankful I'll never have to purchase an electric toothbrush. Parkinsonians make the best martinis. Shake it, not stir. I gotta pick on Michael J. I'm sorry. If Michael J. Fox were caught in a 9.0 magnitude earthquake, would he stand perfectly still?
Yes.
In the moving and storage industry for 40 plus years, never once did I imagine I would one day be called a mover and a shaker.
Brilliant. Oh, that's quite good. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ed. This is my last one if you got time for it. Miracle.
Sure.
See the miracle. I received a call one morning from a client of mine. Her name is Diane. She was calling to inquire whether I move science laboratories. I said, well, yes, I do, Diane. What's up? She said, I'm moving a senior executive from Georgetown University to our campus here in Irvine, California. And he's going to be my boss's boss. His name is Howard. If you mess this up, Mark, I'm going to lose my job. I said, Diane, no sweat. I'll take care of it. So I ended the call with Diane, picked up the phone, called Howard. And I asked Howard my favorite question I asked senior executives. I said, Howard, what's your biggest concern about your relocation? He said, oh, I'm glad you asked me that, Mark. He said, I have 13 cryogenic freezers with 40,000 brain samples of individuals who have passed away with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. He continued, he said, If the temperature in those freezers increases or decreases by more than 3 degrees, it will compromise my samples. I can't afford for that to happen, Mark. I need your guarantee that that will not happen. Well, after I picked myself up off the floor, I said to Howard, you'll be very pleased to know that I have a vested interest in getting you out here in great shape. He said, may I ask what that is? I said, yes, I have Parkinson's. He went silent for several seconds, and then in the gentlemanly way he always spoke, he said, would you tell me about it? I'm pleased to announce that every one of his samples arrived on time, intact, without a single hitch. Ensuring that Howard could continue his search for a cure for these two devastating diseases. In the last half decade of my career, I relocated no less than 100 more scientists and their precious cargo, all with the same results. Coincidence? Not a chance. Every one of those lab moves was a miracle. The next time you're faced with a daunting challenge, take a deep breath, see the miracle, and remember, opportunity is just around the corner. In the words of Michael J. Fox, King of Pop, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Thank you.
That was great, Mark. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Very good.
Well, you get some insights there, what it's like to deal with, the physical challenges. I mean, it's kind of annoying as time goes on, but it was a great experience just the same, and I learned so much from the experience. I've got to find a second talk I can do now, Ed. So you give that some thought, and we'll think of another one we can do. So I'm ready for a change.
Well, let me give you a hint. You're already into it with this perimeter of hope,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you ought to explore that more.
So explore that. Okay.
Yeah, because you're impacting people surrounding the patient,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
they need to have the information to be supportive of the patient,
that's true.
and otherwise the patient's going to feel worse.
Yeah.
So I think that is attractive to me anyway, and a real good TV story. So come on back and let's do more TV shows.
All right.
Mark, I got a question about Kanai. As I've been looking at it, as I was listening to you, I was reading through their website and dopamine neuron progenitors, and I know that we're talking about some kind of medicine, an injection, a pill, something
Yeah.
like that. In preclinical phase, which is good. When do they expect to go to market?
I think about another year.
Well, I can wait.
I'll let you know, Dave, as soon as we have some more word on it. But I think last I heard it'd be about another year.
It looks interesting, and um, it sure beats Dr. Clampett's brain surgery.
Oh yeah.
So this show is to life, and this is the pathway to hope.
Love it.
Thanks for being on the show. Come back again.
I
This
sure
is,
will.
thank
Yep.
you, Dave.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks a lot.
And okay, signing off from San Diego.
Talk to you soon, Ed. Okay.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Bye.